4th of July, fireworks in the sky, but the truth's still buried underground. Royal Oak, yeah. They told me, wave the flag while the chains still clank. Told me praise the names on the blood-soaked banks. Told me freedom was born in the room full of men who wrote liberty down while they own human skin. So fuck your founding fathers and the myths they made. I don't pledge to the lie, I don't kneel to the page. You can light up the sky, I remember the smoke from the fields, from the ships, from the necks in the rope. You call it independence, I call it selective. You call it patriotic, I call it protective. Of the story so fragile it cracks when questioned. Truth knocks once and they call it aggression. Yeah. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, yeah. No justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. They say, look how far we came. I say, look what it cost. Every courthouse got a shadow, every victory got lost. They gave statues to the takers, made heroes out of thieves. Put their faces on the money while the hungry couldn't breathe. Don't lecture me on freedom from a stolen land stage. Don't quote old documents with blood on the page. Don't tell me be grateful for a seat at the table when my people built the room and got treated unstable. You can't buy me through the truth, you can dress it in stars, but the anthem still echoes like chains behind bars. I don't hate the people, I hate the disguise. I hate when the guilty get praised as the wise. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Don't call it hate when the wound speaks back. Don't call it division when our name was fact. Don't call it progress while the system still bites. Don't call it freedom if we still gotta fight. I'm not here for comfort, I'm not here to pretend. I'm here for the children who deserve better than this. Better than myths, better than chains, better than flags used to cover up pain. So this one's for the ancestors who never got rest, for the names never written but who gave us their best, for the mothers who prayed, for the fathers who ran, for the babies born fighting in the stolen man's plan. This is not disrespect, this is correction. This is not rebellion, this is resurrection. You can keep your parade, I keep speaking the truth. I don't need permission to remember my roots. Royal oak in the soil, truth in the flame. If the crown came with silence, then I don't want the name. But if the crown means standing when the whole world falls, then I'm 10 toes down till the real story's told. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Fireworks fade. truth don't die. Royal low. 4th of July. Not your myth, not your lie, not your version of my life.
I forgot I was muted. All right, so hello everyone, Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so we're about to get into it. Hold on, give me just a second. I'm trying to edit something real quick. Okay, hold on. Almost done. Okay, there we go. Now, with that all being said, let's get ready to get back into it. Let's see who all is here. Okay, Robin, Love, Christy, Hadassah, Betty Boop is in the virtual building. All right. Mel is here, Trisha, 57 Beige Fox, Bronze Flat Power God. All right, Miss AP Prayers. Tame Lamb is here. High Confessions, Nalon is here. Reggie, Deronda. Okay, let's get it popping. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, Quote 305. 27 DD is here. All right. Lovely Lynn. Okay, so everybody hit that like button. Like, share, subscribe, and all of that. Like, share, and subscribe. Now, who is this calling me this time of morning? Telemarketers, I'm sure. Hey, Andrew. Okay, so 504 Nolan's in the building. Okay, so with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes, and then we'll get it started. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil. Just look for on Etsy.com, just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay, so let's get into it. First off, there is a very disturbing story that I found out about last night. And it's really crazy. And I'm going to let you all hear this. Now, mind you, this happened about a year ago, and I have not heard anything about this story ever until last night. And in fact, as I'm looking at the news report from a year ago, the report only has 1,700 views. That's all this story got was 1,700 views on this news report. So let's get into it because a 7-year-old Black child was hung up on a hook in a bathroom. Okay, about a white child. Let's get into it.
Dispute about what happened inside Barnhart Elementary is that the 7-year-old second grader was in a life-threatening situation in a school bathroom. It was dangerous and terrifying for him and his family.
According to sources, this is how things played out in that school bathroom. There was a stall door like this one that opened outward. It had a clothes hanging hook like this one. The second grader was wearing a hoodie. It was caught on that hook, the boy suspended in air, choking on the front of his own sweatshirt.
The school's principal finding him, getting him down and to the hospital, putting out an initial statement that the incident was the result of, quote, horseplay involving the second grader and another student who we now know to be an 11-year-old fourth grader.
Reliving it, it's hard. Like seeing my grandson, it's hard.
That is the boy's grandmother speaking out but asking not to be shown or identified.
He's so little, and just knowing what happened and just trying to picture or imagine him hanging.
The boy's mother on the phone, rejecting the notion that this was two kids playing.
that this was no horse playing. I want my child's voice to be heard. I want to be my child's biggest advocate.
So she posted on Instagram that her son was hanged in school. The post going viral with hundreds of thousands of views, many believing it a racially motivated incident. But the children are both the same race, and the family is now asking for calm.
It's not a hate crime, but it's something that shouldn't have happened.
We've asked the Charles County school system for answers about how it happened, about supervision and bullying. The superintendent sending out a statement saying that they are still investigating. The good news is the second grader is now home. He has some bruising, but is on the mend.
The only saving grace is that he's here.
In Waldorf, Brad Bell, 7 News.
Make any space yours.
Now, hold on, beloved. Now, I want you all to listen to this other report about the same story. Now, listen to this. This is from CBS. So, alleged hanging incident involving second grader at Maryland school puts spotlight on bullying. Now, an education advocacy group is putting a spotlight on bullying and school violence after a 7-year-old student was injured in an alleged hanging at a Charles County elementary school. On November the 15th, Carrie Burke, principal at C. Paul Barnhart Elementary, issued a letter to parents regarding 2 students reportedly horseplaying in a school bathroom when one student's jacket got caught on a stall door hook. Some students are consistently causing physical assaults against their peers and educators. This is what Sean Hale, the president of the Education Association of Charles County, said, I want to emphasize the validity of the concerns at the elementary level. Now, the other student involved was unable to free the student and left the bathroom to seek help from staff, reporting the incident to the school administrators. Now, staff responded and called 911 for additional precautionary medical support. According to hospital documentation, the second grader suffered a neck contusion caused by blunt trauma. Now, first of all, my question is, how did they have time to be in the bathroom doing all of this? Where were the teachers and staff? Now, while the letter did not include further details about the condition of the 7-year-old boy, the family spoke out distraught over the incident. My son did tell me that they were in the bathroom. He said the little boy told him, I'm going to. Now, I want you all to pay attention to this. Listen to this. My son did tell me that when they were in the bathroom, he said the little boy told him, I'm going to show you how I did people back in the day. That's why I feel like it was bullying. I'm telling you, this is what the other kids said happened. Now, the child's parents said it wasn't an incident or it wasn't an accident, and their child was hung by the 4th grader. My child, who is a 2nd grader, was hung in the boys' bathroom by this 4th grader. She said it was traumatizing. Now, here's the thing. What I find interesting is, if these children were the same race, why did this other little child say that I'm going to show you what they did back in the day? Where did they get that from? I have several questions. Okay, I have several questions. And like I said, where were the teachers? Where was the staff? How were these children having all this time to be in the bathroom playing around, and then they called it horseplay? That's what they said that was, horseplay. I find that all very interesting. I find it very interesting. Now, they're saying both of these children were the same race, but that's not what it said when I saw it posted on TikTok. When I saw the clipping of it, because that's what I actually saw was a clipping of it, which is what led me to go look it up. And I further don't believe they were the same race, because why did they say it's not about race? That's for number one. And why did they say that in 2 of the reports that the other child said, I'm going to show you how we did people back in the day. I'm going to show you how it happened back in the day. Okay, please pay attention, honey. Y'all know they be lying about these reports. And we're not going to see the other child because it's a minor. So they can't show their face or even say their name. So they can tell us whatever they want. Now, if you all remember, there has been several times when there has been a case that was committed by a white man, but they will put a black man's picture on it. So when you look at the headline and look it up on Google, it shows a black person did it. But it's a white person's crime, but they have a black face in front of it. And I've proven that to you all a myriad of times. So please pay attention. So a black child stuck this child on a hook and then said, I'm going to show you how they used to do people back in the day. I'm going to show you how I did y'all back in the day. That's exactly what they said the child said. Okay. Now, that CBS article had it printed one time, but there was another article where it said it twice, as if they repeated it. So I'm sorry. Flora Perfection said he was probably most likely biracial. That's a thought, could have been, could have been. But I just find it very egregious that any child of any race or color is doing something like that to another child, especially when you're only in elementary school. That is really sad. Who is teaching this child such hate? Okay, but anyway, let's go to this next story because it doesn't get any better from here, unfortunately. Okay, this story doesn't get any better. Please pay attention. It is the story of Malachi Lancaster. So let's talk about it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. This young man was a football star and he was the homecoming king or the prom king. Okay, I'm going to go to this news. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. This is the young man who died while he was out hunting with his white friend. And this is exactly why when my nephew asked my sister when he was in high school, could he go hunting with his white friend? She told him, hell no. This is exactly why.
Accident last year is speaking with us tonight.
We now have copies of both the Florida Fish and Wildlife and Alachua County Sheriff's Office reports involving his death. TV20's Kayla Lewis joins us now live in the studio. And Kayla, will any criminal charges be filed?
FWC officials say no criminal charges will be filed because their findings show the incident was not criminal, but a tragic accident. However, Lancaster's family say they still have unanswered questions. Due to the varying stories from the 16-year-old friend who was hunting with Malachi at the time of the accident on December 8th, 2024. Family members say this witness originally told everyone Lancaster fell from a tree stand and that's when the gun went off. But according to the FWC report, investigators determined Lancaster was holding a rifle when it fired, striking and killing him while walking in the woods during a hunting trip. The report says Lancaster moved through some brush, which caught on the trigger, causing the gun to fire. The FWC report doesn't mention the initial story.
You can't believe that this has just happened. And so we didn't really think about the two stories. We just were overwhelmed with the loss and the shock. And we just moved into that process of grief and wanting, acceptance and denial, and trying to navigate those real moments that he was gone.
Investigators say he was using another friend's gun, which required the safety to be turned off to load the weapon. Autopsy results concluded that the gun was fired from a very close range due to burns around the bullet hole. The family says they will hire a private investigator, and tonight at 10 and 11, you'll hear the family's message to other parents who let their kids go hunting. Live in the studio, Kayla Lewis, TV 20 News.
Okay, rest in peace to that young man. But let me tell you all something. I want you all to hear for yourselves. I want you all to hear for yourselves the 911 call that was made after the young man was shot. It sounded very performative to me. Now, you may think otherwise, but in my opinion, it sounded very performative. Like someone putting on an act. And then they were quick to say that this was an accident. And then pay attention to how they said that the trigger likely got caught on some brush. Like they said the trigger likely got caught on some brush or something. Just like that other story where the young man was found dead and then he was in a trash bag and they said that he did it to himself and that when he was falling, his gun trigger likely got caught on a vine as he was falling out of a tree. They will make all kinds of asinine excuses to absolve these people of any culpability when they know darn well they have likely done something nefarious. Now listen to this 911 call and tell me what you think.
I'm out hunting and I don't know what just happened. My buddy's brother, he just got shot. Malachi.
Okay. All right. Where are you?
Dude, he's dead. I need help, dude.
Okay, I'm gonna get you some help. Where are you?
Okay. Where are we? What's the address? I'm hunting. I'm on Wilson Road.
Okay.
Oh
All right.
my God.
Let me see. Let me see.
Malachi, here. Please, he's.
Okay. I'm going to get some help out to you. Just give me
Oh
1
my
second,
God.
okay? I'm trying to see where
Oh
you
my
are,
God.
okay?
Oh my God. Dude. Dude.
Okay. It looks like we have a
my
call
God.
in here, okay?
He said.
Okay. Just stay on the line with me. What is your phone number in case we get disconnected? All right, just stay on the line with me, okay? I'm getting you help, okay? It looks like we already have a call in here. All right, and tell me exactly what happened. You said you were out there hunting?
We're walking back to the truck. His gun, I don't know what happened. My gun is not fired. I don't know what happened. I don't know where his gun is. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And this was your friend that was shot?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. They're coming out there as quickly as they can, okay? Is he breathing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Stay on the line with me, okay?
That all sounded so fake. That all sounded so fake, okay? And then he said, my gun is not shot. I don't know where his gun is. Why is he saying all of that? Why is he saying all of that? Shouldn't he be more focused on trying to see if he can aid his friend in any way? If he can get him back to breathing? I mean, he's sitting there like he's always trying to come up with an alibi, or not an alibi, but come up with an excuse. Where's his? I don't know where his gun is. Well, why don't you know where it is? Because if your gun's not fired and it's only you and him out there, then obviously he must have been shot with his own gun. So it would be somewhere in the vicinity of where his body is. What is he even talking about? But these are the things that happen, and they're quickly ruled as accidents. When it's one of them taking out one of us. If it were the other way around, there's no way you're going to tell them that it was an accident and you're going to get off scot-free. And I want you all to pay attention, because that OnlyFans model, Courtney Clenny, who killed her boyfriend, Christian Abomsele, she only got 6 years, took a plea deal, got 6 years. And I want y'all to marinate on that. She stabbed a knife, plunged it into his heart. And then before calling 911, she called her mother first to see what she should do. We have a whole timeline of the events. If you all remember, I read it to you. And they didn't even lock her up until about 5 or 6 months after the fact. Now, I said all that to say Carmelo Anthony, who was defending himself, who was not out looking for trouble, who did not incite or start an argument, one was started with him, got 35 years. And this witch who killed that young man in cold blood had a history of violence. We've seen the footage of her fighting and attacking him on the elevator and elsewhere. This was a pattern of her nefarious behavior. And it finally led to his demise. And she's only getting 6 years? A cold-blooded killer? But Carmelo got 35. So don't tell me that justice is blind. Okay? Now let's continue. So let's get into this story. Hold on. Before we get into that story, let me go to a couple of more videos. I'm trying to wait for more people to get in here. Likes up. Everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, here we go. Waiting for just a few more people to get in here before I start to drop bombs. Lights up, here we go.
Tell you with 100% certainty, if something were to happen to see my son's best friend, his family would not suspect us of anything, and we would be at that funeral. I don't care if we got 1 million death threats, because we love him like family, and that's what you do when you love someone like family. Let's get into it. So this Gibson go set me the fuck off. Benjamin Hudson, I think's his name, Warren Hudson's daddy, set this up so they could fundraise to sue people who they say are defaming the boys. Most of them cannot even attend their own best friend's funeral. Why? Because race baiters sent a deranged army after them online in the name of justice. And that's not all. From the same fundraiser, we have seen this same pattern time and time again, most recently during the Carmelo Anthony trial. What in the fuck does that trial have to do with this case? Absolutely nothing. Except for the white people making themselves the victims. That's the only strand that connects them. Benjamin Hudson got money. All these people got money. They don't have to fundraise off Nolan Wells' name to sue people online, okay? This is sick. This is fucking nuts. This is not something anyone would ever do if they actually considered Nolan Wells a brother and a best friend and loved him. I could never do this to my son's best friend. My son and his black best friend, C, have been friends for 10 years. Since my son was 7 years old, they've been best friends. He was God sent to my son and this family. When my son was 7 years old, he would go to school. When he got back, I would ask him about recess and lunch because those are the social hours. He would always tell me, I'm wide open. We're playing football. They won't throw me the ball. I guess he wasn't in the cool kid club. We all know how school is. But C, when he played quarterback, threw him the ball, he called a touchdown. Do you know how much that meant to me when I finally asked him, and when he came home, he said, C threw me the ball today. I called it and I got a touchdown. The relief, the happiness, the joy. I told C's mama, like, I will never forget that. It meant so much to me. And C means a lot to me. And there's no amount of death threats that would keep me, my son, our family away from his funeral, because he is a brother. He is a son. He is family to us. You go into that funeral, that the Wells family, or in this case, C's family, would know that we had nothing to do with it. There would not even be an ounce of suspicion, because she knows that we love C like a son. He's been on vacations, Titans games, you name it, C goes. We make sure of it. We try to take him everywhere we can with us because we love him. And if you love somebody, you go to their funeral no matter what. These people are sick. I still don't think the boys did it. I still think there's a better chance somebody else on the island did it after he got left. But if you're trying not to look guilty, you're doing a very fucking bad job at it. My wife's.
What do you all think? What do you all think about what he just said? Anybody venture to respond to that? Nobody has anything to say? Newcomb said he's capped. Trisha said boo. Why are y'all being hard? Y'all are something else. Listen, at the end of the day, dialogue said few out of billions. Yep. I'll have to say that much. Okay, now, with that all being said, but let me tell you all something else. I want you all to hear from the people of Mississippi what they're saying. Okay, let me tell you all what they're saying down there in Mississippi. They're saying that they know that there was no water in Nolan's lungs. Like, that's sort of an open secret, I guess. Now, don't ask me how they know. I'm just telling you what they said. I'm going to go to two people from Mississippi and what they have to say about Mississippi in general. But one of them speaks specifically on Nolan.
Nolan Wells down here. It's so much stuff that y'all don't see that the internet just don't broadcast down here in Mississippi. And I know y'all tired of me flooding y'all timeline with this Mississippi. But I really just want y'all to know. I really want y'all to understand that not only I am pushing this fact every day, I'm giving you firsthand what God is telling me to do. And before I started making these videos, I already knew what this was going to come with. I already knew the chances of people that was going to be against it. But I am God's child, and that is what you don't want to mess with. The message I came to give today is before you come up with any type of plan, make sure God okay with it first, because I'm telling you that is my protection. And y'all can go in my comment section, oh, there is no God. Oh, there is nothing. The Son is God. Trust me, I don't want to hear that. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to hear that. You need to get closer to God. Maybe he might give you the urge to speak up. If you got time to scroll on this phone, you got time to spend with God. And I'm asking y'all to pray for Mississippi and keep spreading awareness. Don't let up. Can I get an amen?
Mississippi needs a whole lot more than prayer, if you ask me. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. They need to be revamped completely. I mean, it's a whole lot of nefarious people down there, is all I'm saying.
And when it comes to Nolan Wells, they found that there was no water in his lungs. We all know he didn't drown. That's not news to me. I'm glad it's finally said, but it's not news. That was common sense. And like I said, I'm from Mississippi. I'm sitting in Mississippi right now in my home. And this is just another case of things that happen a lot here. And I'm saying that because people keep forgetting about Mississippi. We don't have the resources. We don't have the help. We don't have the nothing. It's nothing but trees and highways. And it's people here like me that's trying to do something for the community. But we don't have the resources or the help or the income or the money like all of these other states. And that's not talked about enough. The only time Mississippi is mentioned is when somebody passes away like this. Justice for Nolan Wells' family. And it's time to do the due diligence and bring some help down here to Mississippi. I'm from.
Honey, I'm sorry, but as a Black person, you couldn't pay me to live in Mississippi. Okay? I don't see how anything good can come from it. That is absolutely drastic. Okay? Please pay attention. Okay, hold on, beloveds. Let me get this together. Hold on. Hold on, beloved. It's almost done. All right, so now let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So now let's talk about it because the DA in Nolan Wells' case, the one that came out and gave that statement asking for people to please bear with them. They're trying to do the best they can do. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, of course. They're going to give the same amount of attention to the Nolan Wells case as they give to any other case. That's what she said, right? DA Angel Myers McElrath. So let's talk about this lady and this nefarious case that she's tied to. Now, mind you, she was not the one prosecuting the case. She was not the district attorney at the time, though she did work in the same office with the district attorney who was then Tom Lawrence, and she was his successor. Okay. And then years later, that same case came up under scrutiny while she has been in office. So we're going to get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Just remember, you heard it here first. Let me give my disclaimer. Views, opinions, allegations, and accusations expressed by guests, third parties, or commenters are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show or any of my affiliate shows, channels, or accounts. Content is presented for commentary, discussion, reporting, and educational purposes. Discussion of an allegation does not mean the allegation is true or endorsed by this channel. All persons are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this case. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. So the case of Billy Joe Johnson and the 19th Judicial Circuit and the questions that have never gone away. So the death of 17-year-old Billy Joe Johnson Jr. is important to revisit, not simply because of what happened on a Mississippi roadside December of 2008, but because of the questions that followed about the institutions responsible for determining what happened. Now, at the time, Tony Lawrence was district attorney for Mississippi's 19th Circuit Court District. Now, mind you, that's the same one that is Nolan's case is under. Please pay attention. And working in Lawrence's office was Angel Myers McElrath, today's current district attorney. Contemporary and later biographical records confirm that Myers McElrath became an assistant district attorney in the 19th Circuit Court District in 2006, approximately 2 years before Johnson died, or shall we say was killed. She remained an assistant DA until Lawrence left the office, and she succeeded him as district attorney in 2019. That establishes an important historical connection. Okay, so please pay attention. But it is equally important to be precise. So let me just say this. Tony Lawrence was the district attorney directing the state's investigation into Johnson's death. Okay, now contemporary news coverage specifically identified Lawrence as the DA that handled the matter. Now, with that all being said, Johnson was a highly recruited black high school football player. And I want you all to pay attention, because how many times have I told you that these young black men who mysteriously come up dead when dealing with white folk, why are they, so many of them, football players? Okay, there's a pattern of that. I'm going to do a story about it later on this week. So anyway, he was a black high school football player when a George County Sheriff's Department or deputy stopped him for a minor traffic violation on December the 8th of 2008. Less than 2 minutes later, Johnson suffered a fatal gunshot wound to his head. Now, the circumstances immediately generated questions. The deputy said he had returned to his patrol car and was looking at Johnson's driver's license when he heard the gunshot. Johnson's family rejected the suggestion that their son had intentionally shot himself, and the NAACP became involved. Now, the controversy became significant enough that immediately before the grand jury convened, groups delivered petitions containing approximately 25,000 signatures to the district attorney, Tony Lawrence. Now, a George County grand jury ultimately concluded that the only plausible explanation was an accidental, self-inflicted gunshot, a shotgun discharge. Now, I want you all to pay attention. Accidental, self-inflicted, when the police officer was in the vehicle. But now, mind you, the police officer said that he had gotten out of the vehicle and went to do something. And so this is a story they fell for. I want you all to pay attention, because this is the same jurisdiction, like I'm telling you, the same district, the 19th Circuit Court District, that is in charge of Nolan Wells' case with the then assistant DA, who's now the current DA. Okay, so I'm just letting y'all know how this can go. So that all been said, that still was not the end of the controversy. Now, Johnson's family continued to question that conclusion, and there was another complication. The state medical examiner had originally classified the manner of death as undetermined, stating that she could not determine whether Johnson had discharged the weapon accidentally or intentionally. So basically trying to say he could have tried to commit you know what. Now, mind you, if he's in the back of a police car, how does he have a gun on him? Where did he get it from? I mean, because they do search you before they put you in the vehicle, right? Yes, of course they do. And they usually have you handcuffed, right? Make it all make sense, but let's continue. Federal authorities eventually became involved as well. Now, the FBI, Justice Department Civil Rights Division, and U.S. Attorney's Office reviewed witness statements, forensic records, crime scene evidence, and dispatch recordings, and obtained independent medical reviews. And 2011, the Justice Department concluded that there was insufficient evidence to bring federal criminal charges. Federal criminal civil rights concluded that there was insufficient evidence to bring federal criminal civil rights charges, against the deputy. Now, so officially, no law enforcement officer was charged. Y'all hear that? No charges. Shot that young man in the head in the back of the police car. That's what happened. Okay. Then came allegations of conflicts of interest. Now listen to this. So years later, investigative reporting brought the Johnson case back into public view. And one of the most significant issues raised concerned potential conflicts of interest within the investigation itself. Now, it was reported that findings uncovered during the situation reveals investigation during the reveals investigation report, they have a couple of typos. Reported that the deputy involved in the traffic stop had a sister-in-law who was an assistant district attorney in the same prosecutor's office investigating Johnson's death. Well, who do you think that was? Who do you think that was? Was that Mrs. Angel Myers McElrath? Now, they don't specify that that's her in any of the research that I found, but I believe it's absolutely her, because who else could it have been? I mean, in fact, she was the assistant DA in that office during this time. Okay? So I'm just saying, if the puzzle piece fits, then that's just what it sounds like. All right. So anyway, goes on to say, now the reporting does not identify Myers as the relative, like I said, but I pretty much think that's exactly who it was. Nonetheless, she was linked to the case regardless because she worked in the same office. Now, but the relationship raised a legitimate institutional question. Should a prosecutor's office investigate a matter involving a law enforcement officer who has a close family connection to someone working inside that same office? Well, the answer to me is a resounding no. Okay, should not even be a question. The answer should be no. That is absolutely a conflict of interest. But see, here's what I want you all to pay attention to. There seems to be a whole lot of conflicts of interest going on down there in Ocean Springs. Okay, because we have Judge Ashley Cole, who is the stepmother of Warren Hudson, who has been tied to the Nolan Wells case. And we're not saying he did anything nefarious, but he has some involvement, if not only to the degree that he was with Nolan the day that Nolan went to the island. So, and Judge Ashley Cole, has already inserted herself into the case when she's come out and given statements not once, but twice. Okay? And then here now you have a district attorney, current district attorney, who once, when she was the assistant DA, was involved with a very controversial case, so much so that it later came back under scrutiny years later, and still is deemed as controversial till this day, because no one has ever been brought to charges. No one has ever been charged or been brought and held accountable for Billy Joe Johnson's death. Okay? They want us to think that the young man did it to himself. Please make it all make sense. Now, it goes on to say, so Reveal also revisited the investigative structure itself. So retired MBI Special Agent Joel Wallace, who investigated Johnson's death, told Reveal that 2 investigators from the district attorney's office worked alongside him. Now, Wallace said that arrangement was unusual and later questioned why DA investigators were necessary if MBI was supposed to provide the independent investigation. Now, again, none of that by itself proves corruption or a cover-up, but it's very interesting because you have the conflicts of interest, you have the way the case was investigated in the first place, which all sounded shady, okay, and then you have these people being so friendly with each other, and I'm talking about outside of work. But it helps explain also why the Johnson case or the investigation was deemed as controversial from the start. Now, more than a decade after Johnson died, journalists began taking another serious look at evidence in the case. Now, Reveal's investigation examined inconsistencies in the original investigation, potential conflicts of interest, witness statements, and forensic questions. Now, Johnson's family told a publication that the findings gave them renewed hope that authorities might reopen the case. Then something even more dramatic happened. You see, in 2024, 3 authors published a forensic reconstruction of Johnson's death in the Intentional Journal of Forensic Sciences. That's some peer-reviewed journal. Now, their conclusions were radically different from the official findings. The authors argued that the physical evidence was inconsistent with the accidental shooting explanation. They alleged that Johnson's body had been moved. Pay attention, had been moved, interpreted marks on his body as possible stun gun injuries, questioned the shotgun's positioning, and ultimately asserted that the scene had been staged and that Johnson's death was a homicide that involved, in fact, multiple people. This was a whole cover-up. Okay, this was a whole cover-up. Now, those findings are the author's conclusions, not an official determination that Johnson was murdered. But I'm sorry. Doesn't that sound like Johnson was absolutely murdered? Y'all, I'm about to lose my voice. Lovely Lynn just became a member. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Y'all heard my voice cracking, honey. I'm about to lose it. Hold on. Let me sip some water. I don't have my tea this morning. Hold on. Usually I have my tea and honey. It soothes my throat. Queen's doing bad, y'all. Pay attention. Okay, so anyway, and thank you, beloved. I really appreciate you becoming a member. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, listen to this. These people are so nefarious. I mean, they will just tell a lie when the truth would do. So they go on to say that the authors argued that the physical evidence was inconsistent with the accidental shooting explanation, and they alleged that Johnson's body had been moved, interpreted marks on his body as possible stun gun injuries, questioned the shotgun's positioning, and ultimately asserted that the scene had in fact been staged and that Johnson's death was a homicide involving multiple people. Now, those findings are the author's conclusions, not an official determination that Johnson was murdered, but it all sounds plausible. Nevertheless, they go on to say, hold on. Nevertheless, the existence of such dramatically competing interpretations nearly 2 decades later demonstrates something important. The original investigation did not eliminate public doubt. So basically, people did not believe it. Okay, no one was falling for it. They knew it sounded sketchy because if you're in the back of a police car, okay, and I remember that story too. That was in 2008. Okay, I absolutely remember that story. At the end of the day, the young man, as I recall, he was handcuffed in the back seat. Because I remember we were all talking like, how in the world are they going to expect people to believe that someone who was handcuffed in a back seat of a car shot themselves? Okay, and they said something about the gun was hidden in the back seat. How did they get a chance to hide a gun in the back seat? Because y'all frisk people before you even put them in the car. So that's just all crazy. Okay, a whole darn cover up. So anyway, why the history of the district attorney's office matters. Well, this is where the Johnson case becomes relevant when examining the history of the 19th Circuit Court District. Angel Myers McElrath did not arrive in this office recently. She was an assistant district attorney beginning in 2006. She worked under Tony Lawrence when Johnson died in 2008. Lawrence subsequently became a Mississippi Court of Appeals judge, and Myers McElrath succeeded him as district attorney in 2019. Now, with that all being said, that continuity does not make Myers responsible for every single decision made by the office before she became the DA. But however, it does tie her to that case and to the history of the 19th Circuit Court District. Okay, so with that all being said, and this entire controversy does not prove that she has misconduct, but at the same time, it just makes me wonder, it makes me wonder about her character. All right, because all of these people seem to have worked once again in tandem together. This is what it looks like they do down there in Ocean Springs. And let's not forget, in the words of Tracy, okay, didn't he say they all stick together and they're tight knits? You know who else said that? I'm so glad you asked. Who else said that was Warren in that latest Tatum interview. He said almost verbatim what Tracy said. Okay, and I want to get into some of that too in a moment because I noticed a few things when I was listening to part 1 last night. Okay, but so anyway, the institutional history absolutely matters. So when the same, and here's why. When the same prosecutorial district has previously handled a highly controversial death involving a young Black man and there's questions about that investigation, including allegations of conflicts of interest, and that they still remain, not just then, but that still remain active years later. The public may reasonably expect particularly strong safeguards, okay, when another controversial death comes before that same district. This is why we absolutely should have questions in Nolan's case, the investigation and the handling of his case, and what type of evidence is going to be taken before the grand jury. Are they going to attempt to get an indictment or not? Because I don't believe that they will. Okay, that's why the issue has now become bigger than any one prosecutor, in my opinion. Now, it also brings the institution's credibility into question. All right, because I already had a whole side eye looking at them down there in Ocean Springs. Because if you ask me, all of Mississippi's political and law enforcement, all of that is just dirty as hell. Okay, all of it's just dirty, in my opinion, and has been for decades. The law enforcement down there, the politics down there, all of it. I feel like they're all just Klansmen. And I know every last one of them is a Klansman, but I believe at least 95% of them are Klansmen. And that's just what I think. And so, anyway, in an earlier investigation produced, if an earlier investigation had produced an accidental death conclusion or did produce an accidental death conclusion that the family disputed, and then attracted the NAACP's involvement, required federal review, generated later reporting about potential conflicts of interest, and eventually prompted forensic experts to challenge fundamental aspects of the original reconstruction, then future controversial cases in that jurisdiction inevitably may be viewed through the same history, okay, through the same lens. That's what makes sense. So while all of these people are so upset and acting like we're trying to, make this all about race, we're looking at their history, not just Mississippi in general, but specifically Jackson County. Okay, so the history raises concerns about the standard for transparency and acting in the best interest of anyone that is charged with anything down there, anyone that or who becomes a victim where there's a mysterious death and there's a myriad of questions surrounding it, specifically as it pertains to race relations. When it's a Black victim and then a white person or white people may be viewed as suspects by the public, not necessarily the police. That's just always going to raise suspicion. People are always going to be skeptical and always have questions. And that's because of their history. So they can't blame us for that. And the central question is, the most responsible question isn't, did Angel Myers cover up the Billy Johnson case? But the real question is, did she do anything to stop the cover up in the Billy Joe Johnson case? That's the question that I have. Did she cover it up? If anybody did, I would say that it was likely the then DA. And she may have also had a hand in it, which I believe she absolutely did. But my question would be to her, did you do anything to stop it? Because if you didn't do anything to stop it and you knew that there was actively a cover-up underway, as far as I'm concerned, you're just as guilty as anybody else. Okay? And also, what safeguards are in place today to ensure that the institutional concerns raised by the Billy Joe Johnson investigation won't be repeated? Do they have any safeguards, any type of way to guarantee these things won't happen again? No, of course they don't. And that question focuses on documented history rather than accusing any one individual of misconduct. All we have to do, we don't have to say, oh, McElrath, we don't have to point the fingers at her or even Tom Lawrence. All we need to do is look at the history, and that's all documented, okay? They have the receipts. So, I mean, the main thing about Mississippi is public confidence in the prosecutor's office isn't based solely on whether officials say an investigation was fair either. Okay, it's like all these people, everybody, like I told you, all these people down there, they know each other. The mayor, the police, the sheriff, the judges, okay, the governor, all of these people are friends and hang out together. So if you come for one, you're going to have to come for them all. And if there's a cover up, I would believe and imagine that they'd all be involved in it. Okay, that's just my opinion. The Billy Joe Johnson case demonstrates what happens when an official conclusion fails to settle public concern. Nearly 2 decades later, journalists, family members, and forensic researchers were still examining what happened on that Mississippi roadside. And when a district carries that kind of unresolved history, transparency in the next controversial case isn't merely desirable. It becomes essential in maintaining public trust. All right, so there you have it, folks. Now, with that being said, listen, I want you all to pay attention because this is That's right. Dialogue said cover up of culture. Exactly. I absolutely believe it. Okay, so listen, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I will be back later. Okay, I will be back later. And until then, everyone, please like, share, subscribe, and all of that. I love you all to life. And I will see you all on the next broadcast. Until then, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, and never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Oh yeah, I'm on your ass, I just got to know. What up with that audio? Nolan Wells, we not gonna stop. No, we won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Yeah. We on this case and we demand answers. Oh, they expose. The real queen of receipts dropping. Oh, and we got your back. Somebody gon' talk. Hell yeah, the ancestors walking. I'm so serious. Queen on the case. Oh, they asking full-blown panic now. They trying to shut us down, close our mouth. But I just won't. Damn that. Well, we not gonna stop. No. We won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Yeah. We on this case and we demand answers. Oh, they expose. What happened to you? We tied. You don't get the all my kids ain't cover it up. I said, show yourself. Yeah, steady talking about they was his friends. I said, show up and talk if that's the case. Hold on, Nolan, it's coming to the light. Yeah, the queen on the case. Hold on, Nolan, we won't give up. Rest in his peace. We all love you. No. Nolan. Well, we not gonna stop. No. We won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Nolan, we on this case.